Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome. Come on in. So we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. I'll just wait for people to find the link and do that all before we get going. If it's your first time here, you're so welcome to be in your comfies, cameras on or off, grab a hot drink. You'll need a notebook, and you'll need your Substack open. So if you could do those things before we start, that would be awesome. There's about 30 people registered for the call. So usually when people register, it means they are coming. Hi, Susanna. So we'll just give it a second or two because sometimes it just takes a while for people to be joining in. Great, okay. And then if we give it a minute or two, you can put your Substack URLs in the chat and say hello to each other. I'm just letting more people in. You're so welcome. It's lovely to see you. I just did a little Substack live, so I'm just getting over my nerves. I felt very sick at the thought of it, and I felt sort of stuck to the couch before I started. And I was like, am I actually going to be able to get up? Because I was debating for a few moments there where I would actually get up off the couch or not. It was like one of those moments, when you're like, what if I just can't get up? What if I can't do it? But I did it. It was all lovely. Caroline is a great co-host, so that was lovely. It's funny, isn't it? Like when we practice something, it becomes much easier. And I think we can apply that to our Substacks as well. So Caroline did, I think she did 13 weeks of lives every day on Instagram in the pandemic. So now she's telling me that there's just like there's no nerves there whatsoever. It's just like, yeah, I'm live on the internet. What? That's fine. So good. Emma's here. Few more folks here. So if you've got your Substack open, you've got a notebook and pen, you've got a cup of tea, we are golden. So if you want to put your Substack URL in the chat, so people can connect to each other. There's been some beautiful connections formed via the Sparkle and Substack community. People have started podcasts together. They've been finding ways to collaborate. So there are these opportunities in the call, and then there are our threads that we do as well. So don't be afraid to go back into the thread archive. It's a little spool button on my navigation bar. You'll see it really soon. But if you go in there, there are lots of comments from loads of lovely people who are just like you, journeying on Substack, exploring, having a lovely time. So all that being said, the focus of today's call is around homepage activation is what I was feeling when I was coming to plan this session. And it's really about making sure that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that our homepage is optimized for growth. So for free subscribers to come to our homepage and decide or not whether it's for them. So it used to be that you had to sign up to Substack to be able to see somebody's homepage, to be able to even get near it. And it's not now. You guys probably know that we can just press a button and go ahead and read people's work if it's in front of the paywall. So what we're trying to do, given that that's the case for most people, that they're not subscribing yet, that they want to have a bit of time to look around, we want to try and give them some space to do that. So some space to look around and then present them with that subscribe button enough time so that it's immediately obvious that that's what we want them to do. I wanted to, before we start, just talk about a change that Substack have made that you might not be aware of because it's happened in the back office, but I think it's useful for us all to know. And if you came to Substack as a follower of someone's work. So if you made a Substack profile, but you weren't writing on Substack, you might have seen this, but if you didn't, what has been happening is you can be a person on Substack. So I would be Claire Venus on Substack, and then there's more people coming in. And then you would have the opportunity to start a Substack publication under that writer profile. Now you get the opportunity to write a note or write a long form post. A long form post can exist outside of a publication. It does not need to be attached to a publication. So there's been a little bit of confusion in my one-to-one sessions with people where they're like, well, here are my posts, here's my writer profile, but they don't seem to be attached to any sort of publication. And the thing that you need to do, if you listen to this and be like, yeah, that's me, I don't understand how to connect the two up, you need to create what they're calling now a Substack website. So when you go into your settings, there'll be a button to press to say, create my Substack website. Your Substack website is your publication, then anything that you've written gets attached to the publication and attached to your writer profile. So I'll just share my screen and show you what I mean by that. And for those of you that are new, that will then hopefully all connect and make sense. And I think it's just helpful for you guys to know, because when you're inviting readers in, instead of them having to create a publication when they arrive on Substack, because they don't want to do that, right? They just want to read your work a lot of the time. They don't have to now. So they just create a little writer profile, sorry, a little reader profile picture. It would be, so this piece here, and then it would just be this, and there wouldn't be any of this underneath. So these are my publications, Sparkle on Substack and Creatively Conscious. But they wouldn't have that if they just want to be on Substack as a reader. They would have the activity. And then if they've started to write long form posts, not really understanding what that is and what they're doing, the posts would be there, but they would have no attachment to a publication unless they publish a Substack website, which is a Substack publication. Okay, so moving on from that, when we land inside this space, I want you all to head here. Do you know how to head to this space within your Substack? Okay, so this is your handle space here. So if you type in Substack and then / whatever your handle is, that's going to take you there. If you don't know what that is, all you need to do when you're logged into your Substack is press this here, and then you're going to get back to that same page. So that's the place where you as a writer have your publications listed underneath, and then you can see them there. So hopefully that makes sense. And just one more step in that, just in case this is useful to you, if you need to change anything about your experience and the way that this is set up, or your reading experience, you're going to want to be in here in settings. I'm not going to do that today because we're doing something else, but that's where you need to be. Anything to do with your publication, you're going to click into your publication, obviously mine, Sparkle on Substack, and that's where we're going to be spending some time today. So when you're on your writer profile, it's there. And then when you're inside your publication, it's here. And then your dashboard on the side here is going to relate to the publications that you've got access to. So that's where we're going to be there. So we're going to spend some time in this spot. I'm just going to quickly check the chat and just make sure everybody is okay. Feel free to keep introducing yourself, and everybody can be reconnecting, which is lovely. Susanna's saying Substack needs to chill out and stop making new features. I know. We're all massively distracted by all of the lovely tools that we can play with. Okay, so when you are opening up your Substack publication, so you should have yours in front of you right now. If you can, just toggle and have a look at it there. What I want you to do is ask yourself how easy it is to navigate for a brand new subscriber. And you can give yourself, you know, a scale of 1 to 10 with that. So is it really easy for a new subscriber to understand what it is that they're there to do? So they've only just discovered you in the world. They don't know you from anywhere else. They've come via the Substack network. They've found you here. They don't know what you do. They don't know what you offer. Is it clear? What is the invitation for them there? So have a look at that first, and let me put that in the chat for you guys as well. Just stop sharing a second. So we're just looking at, is it clear what offering a brand new person? Scale of 0 to 10. How clear? And then we'll answer that in a minute, Emma. I'll have a look for you. And then if you put in the chat how clear on a scale of 0 to 10 you think it is for somebody landing for the first time, not knowing you. So can they see what your publication is about at just that holding that snapshot of your homepage? Do you feel? Is it clear? Let me know in the chat. So 0 would be not clear at all. 10 would be the best it could be. Caroline saying 9. Lovely. Mary saying no. 7, 7. Susanna's a 9. Good. Okay. Emma saying 5, 4, 6. Cheyenne, 4. Mary. Rona hasn't set it up. You're so welcome, Rona. Do not worry. Like, just come and hang out and let it all wash over you. Everybody's lovely here, and you can always watch the replay to kind of pause bits if you want to kind of go back to it. 7 newbies here. Amber saying no idea. Okay, if you don't know how clear it is, if you're really stuck and if you're not sure, put your URL back in the chat and say help, and somebody else is going to tell you whether it's clear or not. Okay, someone's saying maybe a 6, an 8. Okay. Claire's saying maybe a 6. You'd need to read the about section to know what it's about. Okay. All right. Okay, this is all good. This is all good. So we have an opportunity here. And I'm going to be really self-critical here. So, you know, you might agree with some things that I say and you might not. But here it says Sparkle on Substack. So we know it's a publication about Substack. It could be my personal experience on Substack. We know that there's something that is quite light and sparkly, I guess, about that invitation to people. So there's a color palette running through that is playful, that is light. We know that it's got that kind of feminine essence because I've put a kind of a quite introverted photo of myself there. We can see across here, there's a library. So there's a little emoji of a pile of books and it says A to Z. We can see this person, me, runs a membership, something called Diamond Members. We can see there's an invite to community. There's an invite for newbies. There's something with a thread spool on it. And then there's the archive. And then this position here, which is kind of the top of your homepage, there's a statement here that is saying, hi, I'm Claire, welcome. I've been here 2.5 years. And I changed that just this week. I'll go into why a little bit later on. But again, going into this here, so this is just this snapshot before anybody's clicked on anything. I'm saying, want to master Substack in a joyful, sustainable way? Me too. I'm so glad you are here. I can't wait to see what magic we make together. So there's something about the positioning of people understanding from the off, something about Substack. There's Claire. Okay, she's saying she's been here quite a while and she's got some things to teach. So when I set this up, even back in the day, what I wanted people to understand was that they were welcome. If they wanted to set up a Substack, they were welcome. If they wanted to grow on Substack, they were welcome. If they wanted to connect to their unique mission, purpose, why for being on Substack, that they were welcome. And then over the course of the last little while, when I've been thinking about how to help my 3 different types of people navigate this space, I've introduced new things. So I have 3 client avatars, if you will. I have the people that are very new to the space. I have the people that have been here a little while and have something of a kind of passion project with coming to Substack. They're not quite sure what it's going to be for them yet, but they're excited to try, or they've been trying and they're working out what it could be. And then I've got the more kind of advanced business owners that are plugging it into their business. So my homepage speaks to 3 different types of people. Now that is quite a complicated setup for anybody to understand, but I wanted to give you the background and the context as to what this is and why, because yours doesn't need to be anywhere near this complicated. You'll probably have one type of cherished person that it is easy to connect to set out your stall and capture them in this space. So I'm not going to scroll down for now. We're going to do the next bit of the piece of work. So thinking about just this piece, so we're not scrolling anywhere, we're not clicking anywhere. I want you to go back and see if there's anything that you can change, and you don't have to go and change it now, you can just note it down. Is there anything that you can change to give more of your unique essence or more of the home feeling of your publication to the person who's completely new and trying to understand before they click anything what you're about? Are there any changes you can make? Have a little look and see. Okay, Emma's saying not, I don't think so. Okay. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to head into Caroline's publication. So Caroline and I have just been on a live together, and I've been into Caroline's publication quite a lot this week. So I feel like I know it really well. So I wanted to use it as my first example while you're thinking about, okay, is there something I can change quite easily, or a couple of things I can change to make things more inviting? So Over at Book Alchemy, there is Book Alchemy, the magic of books. Straight away in the title, I'm like, okay, this is about the magic of books. I just get that, right? There's something that can happen. There's something that can transform. There's something that I am invited to. I'm getting all of that straight away from just landing here in this top section. And then I've got this beautiful collage of images that are evoking something very cozy in me, something where I get to be like my delighted introvert self. I get to go into a library. There might be some space, time, things that I can kind of spend time with, fascinations, hobbies, something. It's for me. So there's something there in the selection of these images that's very sophisticated, that is saying, you're okay to be your quirky self. Like, you can come on in and like all parts of you are celebrated. There's also something that has more of a mystical and darker undertone. And I know Caroline has some mystery type writing that she does. So I can feel that already from these images. So there could be something within these images that made you feel a bit like, oh, I'm not sure because I don't like scary things, say, for example, just to kind of flip it on its head. But mostly it's inviting, and mostly we're feeling kind of, it's warm, it's cozy, we're invited in. And then Caroline's got some pinned posts here. So there's something that is straight away offering social proof. So the way that mine said, I've been here 2.5 years, Caroline's got this very strong TEDx backdrop in a photograph of herself there. And it says, my TEDx talk, the power of literature. So straight away, we've got an invitation and we've got the social proof where Caroline's done a TED talk. So there's that kind of piece where we kind of go, okay, this is super interesting. And then we see that there's something that we can click on that is quite inviting because it's audio. So we could listen or watch. We're not sure which one it is yet, but it's called Mission 21. So there's something there. And then we see that there's a little chat thread there. So if you're getting to know Substack, you might recognize that we've started to use these little chat emojis to evoke that feeling that chat threads used to have, where Substack would do it for us. They cancelled those off, but we just do it now. So Caroline's inviting us in there, and it says November comfort reading. So before we've even clicked anywhere or looked at the navigation bar, there's a certain set of feelings, emotions, invitations that Caroline has spun out for us, where we're knowing whether this is a place for us and whether this is the person for us. Does that make sense to you all? Can you see that? And I just wanted to use Caroline's as another example. So when you're going back to yours, and I'll just stop talking for a minute so that you can hold some of this. What have you got on yours that you feel like you could just enhance that little bit? What could you say about yourself to a new person? What could you put front and center just in that section there that is going to give people a few more breadcrumbs as to who you are and what you're doing in this space? Let me put that in the chat for you. Here we go. What would you do? Sometimes my spellings demystify. That's it. Demystify the experience for a new person. So have a look at that and let me know in the chat if anything crops up for you and feels possible. Remember, you don't have to do it right now. We're just making notes and we're just connecting to what we feel like we might be able to do. So Holly's saying, definitely a better hero post. Is it possible to add a new one without it going out to all the existing subscribers? Yeah. Hilda's saying, I do have a hero post pinned at my homepage. I think I could do more with my subtitle. Yeah. Blythe saying, need a hero post, video and views of my natural space. More about the image on the left-hand side. Cheyenne's on it. I just redid my navigation bar to add tag sections. Love it. I love that. There's so much organization we could do. That's brilliant. Well done, Cheyenne. Okay. So When people are talking about this hero post, so this pinned post, obviously it's here on mine, and on Caroline's it's here. It's an invitation, and then at the top there's another one. So you can, in certain layouts on Substack, you can have multiple posts pinned. And at the moment, I have this one place, and then I have obviously the navigation and more when I scroll down. But right here, I'm trying to make the most of what this post is and has done for me. The date on it is obviously, is well over a year old now. It was when I first started this space. But the invitation is making the most of the characters that I've got to try and introduce myself and to try and invite people in. I think we can always do more. So for me, done is better than perfect. I can look at that now and want to change the whole thing, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just say to you that if this post can become an invitation and a setting out of who you are, then that's great. So we could do that. Oh, I've lost you guys. Hang on, let me find you again. There we are. So there's that piece. And then when we click into this, and so this is the first click, I'm trying to get you to think about if this hero post, because we've kind of coined that phrase here in Substack land, is the first place that people click, how is the quickest way that people can get to know you? What do you want to give them? So we're not looking at about pages today, but you've got a workshop. You've got a few workshops on that if you want to go into it. We're just looking at this hero post. So I have a couple of videos here for my audience based on those avatars that I spoke to you about, where before I've even said anything else, I've said, have a look at what I'm about and what my teaching style is. So that's relatively new. I think I put one of them in about 6 months ago, and I put the other one in just a few weeks ago. So I've given people the opportunity to just click straight away without any introduction. And then I've got an inspirational quote from somebody who, it's the social proof piece, really, who somebody said something really kind and said, Claire is the queen of Substack, right back when I first started teaching about Substack. And then mine is a letter. So I wanted to write that kind of, that dear hello, who are you in the world? How's your day going? So I wanted to write it as a letter because that for me differentiates what this is. My about page feels very different. My about page feels like this is about me. It's about the publication. This hero post is much more of a letter to where people are finding it right here and now. So it's an evergreen letter. So I wonder if that resonates for you with a hero post in terms of having something that is different to your about page, and whether you feel like that's something that you could do. Let me know in the chat if you want and feel confident enough to write a letter to your subscribers, and start with that. Just reading over your stuff. Yes, Harriet. So the hero post, we've just called it the hero post because it's the post that we're asking to work really hard for us within our Substack publication. So usually it's the post that converts the most number of readers to subscribers, and sometimes, in my case, paid subscribers from people that didn't know my work at all. So for somebody to trust me with their money and decide that they want to spend time here, for me, the video part of it was really important because I'm not having to kind of build up any nurture sequence like I might do off Substack. I'm just capturing their attention straight away. So Joe's saying, do we need a hero post? So if you reframe it as an opportunity to give your ideal reader, ideal paid subscriber, ideal member more context about what this is, then that's probably more helpful. The about page, like I said, is about you and about your publication, but the hero post is more of a, and he is even more, like he is more of a letter to you right here and now, and he is more about me if that's something that you need to go deeper into. So, and the positioning of it helps. So it's a visual thing, because we end up where we get quite a lot across the navigation bar, and we can put more here as well as we scroll down. So it's the opportunity to capture attention here and get them to click here first. I mean, you can say, read this first, start here, You can say those sorts of things and you can test that as a call to action. I would give it at least a month, if not 3 months, to be able to see if it's working for you and it's generating the conversions from readers to subscribers, but you'll see that in your dashboard. So that's why. Okay. And yeah, you can replicate some of the stuff that's in your about page. That's a really good point. That's a really good question, Malice. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. So Malice is saying, I find it very difficult when you're only just getting started. Is it better to wait to have more posts available before working on designing a more welcoming homepage? It's definitely easier because obviously as you're building up your post, you'll have more interaction from your readers. You'll know more of the essence of what people are reflecting back that your work does for them. So then when you have some more of that to say, it is easier definitely to kind of go, okay, let's get the post-its out, let's work out what the navigation bar might have on it. And also it can be just quite hard to untangle it if you've done it in a certain way and you want to change it. So it's kind of better to build up, I would say between 10 and 20 posts is good. But if you get a flash of inspiration and you want to create a hero post, then that's all good. Okay, good. So in your hero post, is there space with where you are in your creative practice right now to put audio or video? Yes or no? Like, just let me know in the chat, write it down. Is there space for you to put a video in there? Do you have capacity to come to video and articulate what your Substack space is, why you set it up, what you're hoping for? Do you have an audio that you could share? Because people are 2.5 times more likely to subscribe from video or audio on Substack than they are written posts. So those mediums just work harder for us, which is why it's great to have them if we can. If it's too difficult and we're not ready for that, then just know and just be nudging yourself maybe into 2025 to kind of ask, okay, like, could I maybe do a really gentle 10-minute audio that's a bit of a welcome? You know, you can script that if you want to script that. You can just speak off the cuff if you want to speak off the cuff. You can do whatever it is that you feel most comfortable with, but can you do it? Can you do it before Christmas? Do you want to do it in 2025? Make a decision, because that is going to be one of the top ways that you're going to get people to convert quicker from being a reader to a subscriber and from being a subscriber to a paid subscriber. So let's see what you guys are all saying. I'll say Katie's having some trouble rearranging, so we're going to go into that, don't worry. So Amber's saying, I've got a professional video in one of my pinned posts. Brilliant. Rachel's saying something I'm thinking about as a voice note post. I did recently, one went down really well. Susanna's saying video is the lifeblood of my Substack. Yeah. Louise is saying, I keep saying I need to add audio. Yeah. And it can just feel difficult. You know, I've got resources on that in the A to Z. So do have a look at them, but just know that it's there as an opportunity for you. So if you can come to it and do it imperfectly and just be brave and put it out, it's going to create a deeper connection more quickly. So it's just there. I'm just dangling the carrot and I'm holding space for all of the things that you feel and want to say about that. Harriet's saying, how professional should the video be? Does it need intro, outro music at all? Is a fairly raw iPhone video enough? Saying, anyone else like feel like, oh, video if I have to? Honestly, yes. Like, I'm super comfortable meeting with you guys and doing this, but make me speak to an abstract person that I don't even know is coming over yet. Like, it's really hard. It's really, really hard to do. And that's why you just have to go into your comfort zone. So if it is you reading a post aloud, that is better than nothing. Like, if you've written a post you're really proud of and you add the audio to that, great. That's enough. You know, just work within your comfort zone. To answer your question, you don't have to have it professionally edited. You can work within your means within that, you know. So for my videos, what I do with all of them is just record directly into Zoom, and those are my videos, and those have been my videos since I started on Substack. Even though my husband has Final Cut Pro and could edit them for me, it takes too long. I haven't got time. I just put them up. So I mean, he doesn't take too much time. He takes all the time to make it as beautiful as they need to be, but I don't feel it's necessary. I feel like there's something beautiful and trustworthy about us just showing up and showing who we are and being on the journey that we're on with that. If you have the capacity and knowledge to edit, gorgeous, like do that. You know, either's fine. It's not like an etiquette thing. It's definitely just a comfort zone thing and what you're comfortable with. Okay, to explain a couple more things with the homepage and optimizing it for growth, what I want you to do is when you're on your Substack travels, so if you receive an email from Substack, if you're on the app, if you head into the desktop over the next month, make sure you clock in your route in. And if you do end up on someone's homepage, if there's anything that you like, that you think is cool, quirky, works well, just make a note of it, make a mental note of it, because this builds over time. So as we are experiencing people's Substack homepages, we'll always spot nice ideas or things that we think work well. So make sure that you are just open to learning what your homepage can be for your publication over the next little while. So the navigation bar here, now I've spoken about this multiple times in the calls, but this is prime real estate, because if you have a screen like I do and you're here and you've got your Substack set up this way, these are not the most popular, by the way. Like, these are really old and I don't know why Substack's pulled them through, but I've let them do it for now. But between the most popular and then the navigation bar, these are some more words, some more invites that we're trying to make as clear as possible. So the amount of times that I've come to audit someone's Substack and there's 3 things here that sound like exactly the same thing. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'll have to click through them all. And we're trying to remember, like we're talking about trying to convert that free reader to a subscriber. So we want to make it clear that when someone clicks something, that's going to be of value to them. So if someone's just joined my membership, then they're probably going to head there. If they've just joined Diamond membership, they're probably going to head there. If they're looking for something, they're probably going to head there. And I'm quite confident and comfortable with that. With the community and the newbies, I've changed this up quite a few times. You know, I've had different things. I would like to use more words, but I mean, I'm running out of space on the navigation bar, so it just gets too long. So I've just tried to be as succinct as I can, and it is working. The reason I know it's working is because I have over 1/3 less customer service emails than I used to do, because it's all here. Like, I don't need to answer anybody an email because they can find what it is that they're looking for. So for your navigation bar, before we go into the organizing of the homepage and the different layouts and stuff, and we play around with that stuff, what is on your navigation bar? And is it clear? And if you feel there's something missing, note that down. So I'll put that in the chat. I'm just clicking back over to Caroline's because you don't have to be scared for there being quite a few things in that navigation bar. The people that Caroline is holding space for in our membership and the people who are part of our active community will know where to click for the things that they want. And the new people get this beautiful invitation that says, hi, start here. So there are always ways, if you do have a really deep publication with lots of different sections and tags, and you talk about lots of different things and you're a true multi-passionate, you can talk about fluffy cats, notebooks, your career. You can talk about all of that on Substack, and you can section it all out if you want to. So there's loads of ways with it. So I just wanted to flash that up again and say that there are lots of ways to look at how we organize our navigation bar. Also, Caroline said I also turn some off and on depending on what's on. That's helpful. So Rachel's saying that's been my worry, that I have too many tabs. So to clarify, the new reader, we're looking for, in the sea of all of this, is it obvious where the new reader comes to become a subscriber? So we've said they might click this if it's front and center, this hero post. If you haven't got a hero post yet, don't worry, but mostly the conversions for me are coming through this. but then where else might they go? So for me, it's here or it's the A to Z. And then they might come back and go, well, I am new to Substack, actually, I'll go there. Or, you know, we all treat the internet differently. They might come down here and go, I'm going to read some simple Substack advice articles first. So we're just trying to hold what the new person to our space will click. And is it inviting enough? Is it clear enough? Have we done enough to invite them into our space? Becca's saying mine's minimum for now. Susanna's saying, Navbar's feeling good. I've got to start here and frequently asked questions. I mean, frequent asked questions is great, especially if you're running a membership. I actually find when I'm writing a new sales page for a course and I go into the questions that I tend to get asked, I get more clarity on how to describe something. So it can just be a really beautiful exercise to kind of see what people might be asking, especially if you're bringing people across to Substack from another platform. So if you've got a highly engaged audience on another platform, people have so many questions about Substack, so many questions. And the amount of times that people will tag me in notes and I'm like, I can't answer everybody's questions on Substack, you know, like they need to sort of understand what Substack is and we need to kind of guide them a little bit and we need to find some more simple language to use about what it is as well. Okay, so many questions, Becca, I know, so many questions. Good, okay. Right, so what we're going to talk about now is the different layout options of your homepage, and it really is personal choice, okay? So if people are scrolling down, the reason that I have these chunky headers, these bold headers, simple Substack advice, membership, diamond members, Substack growth tips, make money on Substack, and then this one, the business of your Substack guest expert workshops, is because these are arranged around the questions that I get asked the most from those three avatars that I told you about. So the people that are new to Substack, the people who want to be here but kind of need more of the tools of understanding how to express themselves, so like creative expressionists, and then also the more advanced people who run businesses or understand the internet really well. They just need to make Substack work for them. And a lot of the time with those people, they don't feel like they've got a lot of time to figure it out. So they just need the videos or the tutorials as quickly as possible. So this is built up over the last 18 months. And again, I'm not going to let myself be a perfectionist about it, but it can always be better. It can always be clearer. We can always come to it and go, is this clear now? Like, does this make sense now, given everything that I've been building? So that's how I've set it out in that way. What I see people do is think that they're going to have a lot of things to fill a group. So these are grouped, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then they don't actually, you know, they might get really passionate about writing on a certain topic and think it's going to be a series, but then it's not. And that's where the jigsaw puzzle of helping you to understand how you layer things within the Substack ecosystem and represent your archives wherever you want to represent them is super helpful. When you're new, obviously all of this is building up and this is gorgeous, but when you've been here a while, it's actually more confusing to tell someone everything you've ever done. Like, we don't need that. Like, we do not need a magazine of your life. We don't. What we need is to be able to find the things that are going to kindle our experience as a reader with you as quickly as possible. Or, you know, if it's a call link, that needs to be obvious. If it's a series and we want to kind of follow or go back into the archives. So we really need to think about how we do that and how we hold people in those spaces. When you press the button See All, you get a URL for this. So this is a tag, and there's a couple of videos and a post explaining the difference between sections and tags, but you're going to get a URL, which is so useful because you can then, in any post, link to a URL of grouped topics. So say if you did write about fluffy cats and you were like, okay, like Substack/fluffy cats, here's all the posts on fluffy cats. And not only are there all the posts on fluffy cats that you need, but you can also see them on the homepage. So have a look at yours before we go into the layout piece and just see, what are those content buckets? What are those things that have been coming out this last year? What are the topics? You don't have to have loads of them. Maybe you've only got one other featured section like this. You know, there doesn't have to be all of the stuff that I've got here. I've got a huge publication. So what is it? What else is it that you want to present to your new reader? That's the key here, the new reader. What do we want to present to them on this page from your archive? How do we want to organize that in front of them? Fluffy cats. Let's start a fluffy cats Substack. I don't even know why I said fluffy cats. I think I'm just in that sort of mood today. Yeah. So see what it is. There might be a couple, there might just be one. And we're thinking about how we can hold people to convert into readers, to want to read more from us. Okay. So I'm going to go into Creatively Conscious now, which was my first ever publication and is a bit more of a simplistic one for you guys to have a look at. So this is a weekly-ish newsletter on self-seeding your business, wholehearted living, and we're going to edit how this all looks. I definitely can't do that with Sparkle because I just feel like I might mess something up and somebody might be looking for something, but we'll do it here. So we're going to edit what this looks like, and I'm going to show you how to do that so that you've got that. There is a tutorial on this as well, so don't worry if you miss it and you need to go more in depth. So we'll go into the dashboard for Creatively Conscious. We'll go into settings and we're going to click into branding and then publication theme. And then we get here into the portal. So in here, you can change the look and feel of your homepage. For the longest time, I didn't have a fancy word mark. So this is called a word mark. I didn't have a fancy word mark for either of my publications because I needed it to feel representational of who I am in the world, and I just couldn't understand how to articulate that through a font. I know that sounds really faffy, but I just really did not have the tools to know what do I want that to look like other than the plain Substack one. So do not rush to change this. You do not have to rush to change this into a fancy font. I don't think that it is the biggest priority that is going to convert the free reader to the subscriber. It doesn't matter that much. It's just a nice to have. So in the branding, I've got a photo of me as the logo because my logo wouldn't mean anything to anyone. Like it would just be words. And so I didn't feel like the identity of that logo was strong enough. I whipped it up within 5 minutes in Canva years ago, and I didn't feel like I really wanted to put that front and center. So I just put a photograph of me. You could have a photograph of a plant, a fluffy cat, a book, anything that you want there, but it's going to be what pulls through onto Substack notes. So that's there. And then you can have your background color and your accent color as two different things. So if you've not done any work around branding and design before, I would say just leave those alone because you can easily make something look really terrifying in terms of the color palette and the clash and the accessibility without meaning to. So go back into some of my videos around that stuff if you want to, but don't be tempted to play around with that stuff because it's not going to convert anyone. You're more likely to put people off because they can't read it properly if you play around with those buttons. But that's where it is if you're confident to do it. I've left these alone, but obviously we do have a few options of fonts. Substack's kept it simple for a reason. So if you prefer one, if you're leaning more towards one than another one, just choose that one. You don't have to think more about it than that really, but it's there if you want to do it. Okay. Just discard that. And so then in the homepage here, we've got a few different options. So the header style is saying that we're on highlight. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So sometimes they roll these out to bestsellers before anyone else, but I think at the moment you guys should have the same as me. So you can change it to newspaper, which is going to give you that middle post quite big. You can change it to magazine, which probably didn't change that much, but media feature, which is obviously just, again, it's just changing the layout, changing the style. So it's really up to you what you want. Highlight, which was what I was on. podcast. So this isn't really a podcast, it's just a set of voice notes. So that doesn't make sense for this publication, but it might make sense if you have a podcast already and you want to lead with arriving with your podcast or a feed of posts. But I mean, that's not going to be useful to anybody. Nobody's going to subscribe with that. So I think, it just depends what you prefer. But I think with feature, which is what I've got for Sparkle, and with highlight, which is what I had here, there's something of an invitation with both of those that feels like easeful, So say that we just leave it on that for now. And then we have these options in advanced layout, which you will have to toggle on to do a message for non-subscribers. So this is who we're focused on in today's call. And then a message for free and a message for paid. So focusing on that message for non-subscribers, I want us to have a go at writing something to those people. And I want us to keep an eye on the global opportunity that we have from wherever we are in the world and what that invite is. So you'll see I've got that really bold, what would we'll call it, a banner at the bottom there. And because it's showing me the opportunity to see what non-subscribers see, that's what the invitation is. So have a go at writing that line for non-subscribers and let me know what you come up with. Oh, Katie's saying she doesn't think she has all those options. Okay. I'm saying what section are we in? Okay, let me go back. You've got to toggle advanced layouts on. Let me go back. Discard changes so you guys can go back. Okay, so go into settings again. We're going to go into branding. We're going to go into publication theme and edit theme. And it's all here. This is everything that you're going to need to edit that homepage. The first one we're not going to touch because it's fonts, logos, colors. The second one is what we're going into at the minute because we are working on this advanced layout of this subscribe banner, which is what the message is for non-subscribers. So hopefully that's clear and you guys can get to that page. Hopefully that's all right, Emma. Let me know if you're still lost. Try my best to backtrack. Okay, I'm just going back into here because I think a couple of you are still trying to figure out how to get to it's really not intuitive. And I'm so sorry because obviously I've done this and then forgotten what I've done. So I'm going to go back again. So in the customize your home page, I'm going to toggle that off for a second. When you toggle on advanced layout, you get this section here. Now you might not have anything here and that's fine. We've got to add a block. So when we add a block, you're going to add a list, a grid, a feature, or a subscribe call to action, and that's what you need to add. So I'm going to just press that, and then it's got that there, and then we should be able to write the messages in there. So that's what you need to do, add block, and then add subscribe. It's worth it, I promise, because we're speaking directly to the people that aren't already subscribed and we're kind of stopping that scroll and stopping the overwhelm. It's really worth it. It's just a bit faffy. Yes, Becca, a recording will be available straight after. I usually put them up straight after. So it might not be there if we haven't got sections switched on. We're figuring out, which is a very interesting Substack quirk, but don't worry, we can come to sections as well as part of this call. Okay. So we'll see where we get to with that, but in the tutorial that is around homepage blocks, it might be easier for you to revisit that with the filter of this class as well. So you've got the two things and you're kind of building it up. And the reason that I've given it the energy that I've given it is because we're stopping the scroll. So can you see on Creatively Conscious, like if people are like, oh yeah, like I see all of that, Claire, that's great. I'll just have a little scroll down. It just gives them that really bold invitation. Weekly posts from the Northumberland Coast in the UK. So because when we did a lot of research around who was reading this publication, it's a lot of folks from overseas. That felt like really important and a nice thing to kind of put in. So there's always that option to put that in and then to put that in again before people leave your publication. And then you've also got the option to organize a list, a grid, or a feature within that as well. So this is where it can get quite messy quite quickly. So it's worth planning it out with post-it notes and understanding what it is that you want to present to people with the filter of new subscriber or, new reader that'll convert to subscriber, current subscriber, and then paid subscriber, and doing it for all three of those people, which we won't have time to do today, to see what you need to present on that homepage. But hold in your mind that the top part of that homepage is about capturing attention for people that you want to encourage to subscribe. And if you do that piece first, then the other two should be much easier. Yeah, okay. Let me just stop sharing a second and come back to the screen. So how did you guys get on with that invite? Because I want you to go a little bit deeper with that. Does anyone want to share what they wrote? So Emma's written, there is always room for you on my sofa. Join me. Gorgeous. Do you want to write join me with a question mark, Emma, or join me ... join me with an exclamation mark? Like what type of invitation is it? Caroline's got join us in the library and get inspired to write your book. Yeah, so it's very clear, concise, to the point. We're coming into a library and we're going to get inspired to write our books. Thank goodness, because it's so hard to write a book. So it's like, this is the place I've been looking for. I need to press subscribe because I'm going to get the accountability and I'm going to get the inspiration to write my book. That's great, Caroline. So Holly's saying, if you like life to be full of zest and energy, complemented by a zen, calm mind, Zestful Zen is the community for you. Join us for well-being resources and reflections on life, change, personal growth, mindfulness, and purpose. Yeah, it's beautiful. There's so much in there. So I would definitely try and cut it down and remember that you can split it. So you could have one further up the page and another one further down the page, Holly. So see if you can split it up and maybe try and connect to who is the person that needs this in their life and like speak directly to that with your language if you can. Susanna's changed the to our, which is more cozy and inviting. Nice. Good. Okay. Good stuff. Oh, that's nice. Add a heart. Yeah, don't be afraid of emojis. Emojis are wonderful, aren't they? Lovely to do. I'll let you guys keep supporting each other in the chat. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen because we're going to go into Noz's Substack, which is very, very brave and a lovely thing. And we really appreciate you putting your Substacks forward so that I can kind of hold somebody else's Substack as a new reader and guide us through how we feel. But you can do this every time you come to someone's Substack and kind of question how you feel and how invited you feel. So if I was saying, do I feel invited on a scale of 1 to 10? I feel 10 out of 10 invited here. I'm just like, oh, this is my place. There's loads of joy. There's loads of cute holiday stuff. There's brown paper packages. There's beautiful light. There's gorgeous colors. There's a bit of mystery. There's the connection to ritual, which I love. Yes, so in that top section, it's like, right, yeah, this is my place straight away. So that feeling is what we want in our new readers. And then the next bit, so I feel invited, right? So that's already happened. How is Noz going to get me to subscribe? So I'm here, I've arrived. I think it looks wonderful. I want to click things. How is Noz going to get me to subscribe? Like, what is going to happen next for me or for you? You know, you can do it for your own publication or for somebody else's in the call. Where am I going to head up? Okay, so the first thing, and I see this so much on my audits, is that people have all of this set up and then everything's paywalled. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not invited because I don't pay yet. And it's like, that is not the way to get somebody to pay. The way to get somebody to pay is to make them feel really invited and cozy and part of something, and then to say, I've got this thing for sale. If you put a load of paywalls here in front of people, it's just going to put off your free readers who we want to convert to subscribers or paid subscribers. So again, top marks. There are no paywalls. There's nothing that I need to get through. So it's really up to me. So I'm not having to filter and make a choice. I can really go anywhere. So say if I wasn't quite ready for Christmas content yet, so I wasn't quite ready for this. I mean, I might be, I don't know. I'm nervous about Christmas. I'm always nervous. I could go over here and go, okay, Quest for Joy. That's a bit of me. Let's head over there. And then I could start reading this article, and that could be a really beautiful experience for me. But look, where's my subscribe button? Is there anywhere that I could subscribe? Right down at the bottom. So I'm already ready to subscribe. After this first paragraph, I might be ready to press that button, but I'm not given the opportunity until much further down the page. So be really conscious of, we don't have to overuse them, but we can definitely, in those first few posts, we can definitely put those subscribe buttons a little bit higher. If we had gone into the navigation bar, and if it said here, joy when things are hard, and if I was having a particularly hard day that day, and if something had happened in my life, I could feel really invited straight away to come into this archive. And then look, there's not just one post, there's loads of oh, great, right. I'll put the kettle on. I'm going to put the kettle on and I'm going to have a read of all of these wonderful posts that are going to help me feel uplifted. So it's up to me. Again, power's back in my hands. I'm going to have a little scroll. Okay, oh, this is an interesting one. I like these colours. The art of finding hope every day. Add joy to your daily scrolling. Oh, lovely, great, straight in. Okay, so we're going in, and then we've got that beautiful reintroduction of Noz, which is something that I teach us to do, and it's a really, really helpful thing to do, just to remind people of who you are in the world. And then there's a little bit of a capture that takes us into the archive, which again is super useful. And then kind of going into a few questions and stuff. Again, we could have a higher up subscriber button, but that's really the only thing. So basically what we've got here is that I'm invited into something and it's exactly what it says on the tin. So I'm not coming in here and then I'm finding loads of images that just weren't what I was thinking, or I'm finding loads of language that I can't connect to. Everything that's been set out by Noz is what I'm finding as I click through and decide whether I'm going to subscribe or not. Going back to the home page, I might have had a lovely time in Joy when things are hard, and I might have subscribed, and then I'll be waiting for the next newsletter to arrive in my inbox, or I might want to kind of go further down the page and see if there's anything else. Ready to find joy every week. And a little smiley there is perfect, you know, because it's just stopped that scroll. Like maybe that invitation is bold enough for me to press the button there. And then I've got recent posts. So it might be, I think Noz has come on the call now, but I think it might be that Noz might build some more headers up over time, some more sections, some more tags. But you can see, even from what's there, it says what it is. I want to press subscribe. I want to read more. It's exactly what has been set out for me. It's really clear. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful for you guys as you're thinking through what might be nice for you to kind of tweak and change on your page. Okay, you guys are helping each other out. That's lovely. So cozy. Joy every week. Yeah. Appealing titles. Great. Okay. Brilliant. So when we go back to our Substack homepage and we're holding that person that has found us for the first time, let's just, before we finish up, get to know who that person is. So we'll do our little gingerbread person. Someone said, okay, you've got to read Susanna's work, like you've got to go there. So this person has never heard of Susanna and she's headed over and she's like, great, I'm here. Someone told me to be here. Who is that person? Do you know that person? Do you know the reader that you're inviting in? And do you know why they're not already subscribed? Is the big question. So obviously we are paving ways all the time in our little ecosystems on Substack, and if we're kind of linking to other spots and all the rest of it. But why have they not already found us? Why is now the time? Like, why should we capture them now? What have we got for them now that we didn't have 6 months ago? Because that's the big question here. We can get so into our, oh, well, we write a weekly newsletter, or we write a seasonal newsletter, oh, well, we do these resources over here. But why is this person arriving now? Because people are arriving every day onto Substack. So we've got to try and understand why they're arriving now into our space. So little gingerbread person, and try and write as much as you can about why you feel like this person is arriving to your space now. So if it was for Noz's space, you could go into that space around they're looking for more joy, they're looking for more delight in this season. It's a dark, cold season and they need more joy. So it could be something like that. See where you get to with that, guys. Okay. So with the gingerbread person, I just tried to hold in my mind the people that have been coming into Sparkle recently. And so they're coming in because they want to feel connected. So that was inside the gingerbread person, the connection piece. But outside, it's they want to get savvy about Substack. They want to get clearer. They want to build something. And that language is totally different to what I would have said 3 months ago. Because Substack's changing all the time, this is why it's really important for us not to kind of rest on our laurels and be like, well, I've done it now. It's like, we have done it and we've done what we needed to do 3 months ago. We've set out our stall and it's all beautiful, but we've got to connect back to who that person is that's coming in. And if we don't know, get a chat thread up, like get your chat open, like get people to chit chat about whatever, get to know who's there, get to know what they are arriving for, what's brought them to Substack, what's brought them to you, your space, what's brought them to the topic that you write about. Get really clear on who they are, because that's going to give you the language. You're going to just know what that is, what that invitation is. So for me, when I added, I've been here 2.5 years, it was because people were, trying to understand why they should come into Sparkle versus all of the other Substack educators that have arrived from LinkedIn, and it's like, and like it just gave me the stage fright. And I was like, well, for now, I'm just going to say I've been here a long time. I've been here a long time. I've got a lot to say. I've got a lot of expertise. And that was enough, right? So there was just something really subtle in me feeling safe in going, I've been here 2.5 years. I've got loads to say. So that was really important, but it wasn't important 3 months ago. I didn't feel like I had to say that. Like it wasn't relevant in the same way. So that piece of work and some more journaling around that could be super helpful for you to try and unlock more of how you want to hold people in that top section of your homepage. I know some of you have to go, that's fine. Holly's saying women who've been burnt out or need a change and ready to pivot to a more mindful, meaningful life, but need support and encouragement getting there. Beautiful. So, Holly, I think we've chatted about this before with burnout because there's so much unknown about it and there's so much fear around it, and the internet is so big and so loud. How do we help somebody feel like that isn't another space that's going to feel overwhelming and loud? Like, how could you do that in visuals, in images, in simple text? How could we just make sure that that is evokes that feeling of like a cozy fireside lounge? You know, what is that in words? What is that in images? Um, okay. I don't know if I think Rona sent me a direct message, but I'm just trying to find it. Sorry.
Don't worry. And
So
if it's easier to answer afterwards, no problem.
oh yeah, no worries. Hi, Rona. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just reading it, and I just always try, because if you're feeling something, and usually other people are feeling like that too.
Mm,
So there are always people like who are new to this space or new to
mm.
Substack and all that gorgeous stuff.
Well, I'm
So
happy to share it, you to share it publicly. I only
lovely.
shared it. Yeah, yeah. I just wasn't sure if it was like completely like I didn't want to like take the conversation over here if
Oh
it was
no,
going.
that's all good.
Yeah.
That's all good. What we usually do at the end of the Sparkle call is
Mm,
invite you guys if you've got any questions to ask. So
mm.
why don't you do it? Like, as you're happy to speak, it would be lovely to hear from you, and you can just share what it is you're thinking, and I can just
Shall I,
speak directly to that. Yeah.
all right, should I say about it? So my boyfriend's just eating an
Hmm.
apple in the background. All right, so I basically yeah, so I work as a as an artist. I have different things that I do. So I work as an artist, and then I also do work around art and its relationship to ecology, and then I also do stuff that's like connected like ecology to healing, and then I
Hmm.
work also as a healer. And so it's so when I first signed up to Substack, I think it was either earlier this year or last year. I got I'm dyspraxic, and so I can really easily confuse myself around the technical stuff. Like,
Hmm.
but once I've learnt a system, I'm pretty
Yeah.
good. But absorbing other people's systems can take me longer, and I sort of confuse myself by starting two. And I'm not sure if I switch the emails around the wrong way. Like, I use one email for my artwork, another email
Yeah.
for my healing work. And so when I'm seeing all the pages and everything, although I'm really enjoying seeing them and starting to understand them, my mind is instead going to the kind of top level thing of like, um, yeah, like what kind of brands it would be. I mean, initially I was thinking that it would be two different ones. That would be something around my art and ecology, and then something
Hmm.
around healing. Because I used to have I've worked as a practitioner for like 25 years, so I used to have MailChimp, which I would send out like 4 times a year. um I have like a quite a successful Instagram for my art, which I'm really comfortable, but I haven't ever done social media for my healing work because it's always just
Hmm.
been word of mouth,
Yeah.
apart from the MailChimp. And yeah, and so I just feel a bit kind of like, is it more of a like, do I need to go and speak to somebody about kind of branding first or before and then come to Substack? Because I do feel like a strong pull to Substack. I love writing, and
Hmm.
also with my healing work, I could totally do like weekly videos, and
Hmm.
I'd be like, self-conscious about having them because loads of people say to me, "Oh, you should be on YouTube," and I don't want to be like, I'm too self-conscious for that. But if people if that was behind a paywall, I would be comfortable
Hmm.
for some reason, like even like if it's like £1, like for some reason there's
Yeah.
something about that that changes it. Yeah.
And it's something that you can layer up over time. So I want to really
Mm,
encourage you to see the blank page of Substack. So this workshop it's almost like cart before horse in some ways. Like, it's helpful for you
mm,
to see,
mm,
okay, like when someone's been on Substack 18 months, this is how it's built up. But
mm,
I didn't start out knowing that it was going to look like that, right? And
mm,
although we
mm,
could do that, that would probably stifle our creativity. So we're looking to
mm,
pull a couple of strands, which you've already got, and
mm,
to write on those strands, and then to
mm,
work out when we write on those strands, or we show up to video or we show up to audio, whatever we do,
mm,
what emerges from that. So So sometimes people want to change the name of their publication, and that's fine. That's all possible. When you're building up your audience and it's quite small, you're taking them with you. And even when you've grown your Substack, you can take them with you and you can pivot. But you've got to kind of put some ink on the page and just see how it's all feeling. So you might want to build up some of your artwork on there and just be sharing some of that and showing some of that. You might want to just play around with what you feel comfortable sharing about your healing work and that journey that you've been on to do that work, or you might want to keep that completely separate. But you won't know until you start writing and you start kind of connecting to yourself there, and then connecting to your readers who will sort of start finding what you're about. And what we're trying to do by just making the homepage clearer for the people that have been here a while is because we get lost in our own archives and we don't realize that new people just can't find a way in and don't know if they're invited and don't know if it's a closed club and feel late to the party and all that sort of stuff. So you've got that expertise of coming to Substack and feeling those things as a relative newbie and then going, okay, like I'm new, but so are loads of other people. So how am I going to set that stall out for myself? Enjoy opening the laptop and enjoy coming to the page, and also enjoy kindling that community around you before you start kind of putting things in place. No, I don't think you need branding from the off. Some people feel really safe within branded work. So they feel really safe after they've worked with a branding specialist, a design specialist, a professional photographer. That's never been my way. Like, I'm very happy to just throw things out and kind of move my brand as I develop, but it really depends on you and what you want, because there are people that can support you with that for sure.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I think I feel self-conscious because I've got loads of followers like found me immediately, and then I'm like, and so I just haven't said anything.
Yeah,
And then
no,
I've just
that's
stopped doing.
fine. That's fine. And that is like the ecosystem of Substack has just shifted. So when someone is new, Substack thinks that it's a good thing to give them lots of people straight away. And
Yeah,
that can give us a bit of stage fright because we don't know who
yeah,
those
that's what I
people
felt
are,
that
and
much.
we want to feel safe and all the rest of it. And
Yeah.
it might just be followers if you post on notes rather than subscribers in your dashboard. So just to be clear, when you send out an email newsletter or an email post, that only goes to people that are signed up with that email. But even then, subscriber churn is part of it. So if people have accidentally ended up in your space and they're not resonating, it's good for them to move on, because you're going to find other people who do massively resonate and find a tribe of people who want to be there and want to kind of have more of what you've got to offer. So I think try not to take any of that metric stuff on. Just come to the page and write what you want to write. Starting with your about page can be really helpful, knowing that it's not permanent and you can change it. And then once you've done your about page, come to that first post and have those two things and be proud of that and see how that all lands and feels and what you want to do next. But we're here for you. We're here for you. You can come into the Sparkle Chat anytime. We
Oh,
do
thanks.
writing on a Friday, so it's over on Slack. So we just have a little Slack message board open, and then people can work on their Substacks. They sometimes chat about Substack, they sometimes chat about lunch, but it's all people that are trying to kind of do the good work on the Substacks that they want to do. And that's every Friday. So you could come to that too.
Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. Okay, I'll just double check the chat. And then we will be on our way. So okay, so Becca's saying I'm struggling with whether to keep my current Substack title. I think maybe publication title, do you mean, Becca? Do you want me to speak to that now? Are you still on the call? We could have a chat. I'm just trying to
Yep,
see if you are.
here.
Hi.
I started out, I had what looked like two different accounts. I didn't know what they were. They were two different newsletters.
Isn't this a
around-
familiar story? Thank you, Substack. Do not
Yeah.
worry, because somehow so many people ended up with that. And it's been to do with buttons that people have pressed when they've read other people's newsletter. And then when they've come to set their own up, they've started with like the email address that they actually wanted. So I am one of those people. So do not worry.
So I'm gonna pop it in here so you can actually see. I don't know if it's gonna come up because it has my name versus the name of the Substack, but I am currently going with Change Your Life Travels,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
it.
social media name I have. I have a website with that. I'm a travel writer, but I don't want to box myself into writing about solely travel.
Okay.
So I don't know if this title does that, or if people just see this and go, well, I'm not interested in travel, so See ya.
Is anyone not interested in travel? I mean, aren't we all? I'm such an armchair traveler. I can't imagine people wouldn't be interested in travel. Are people, I mean, I'm genuinely asking if you believe there are people who just wouldn't be interested in travel. Like, is that your sense of it? Because you're a travel writer, right? So maybe you feel like some people aren't.
Well, they may just be, I feel like there's so many people coming to Substack for as writers looking at the topic of writing. And so is travel like taking them too off the
Okay.
trails?
So I think for you, this is a little bit about you working out not just what you want, but also what you want to do on Substack. Just because you've been a travel writer does not mean that you have to write about travel on Substack. You can do anything that you want here, but also connecting to the reader that hasn't found you yet, and whether they're going to find you through this work or whether you want to be more broad, you know, as you're arriving, because this definitely is, yeah, looks like travel. It's travel. There's lovely travel pictures. It's change your life travels. It's like clear, right? But if you're saying there's more of an inkling and there's other things that you want to write about, then I think you have to give yourself space to do that, right? So for now, you might change that publication title. I mean, you've got your name in the Substack URL, which is helpful because you can only change your URL once without breaking all the links. So you can change the URL part once, but you break the links if you do it more than once. But you can change this now, today, if you want to. Call it something else, call it something gentler. Make it an invitation to yourself first, something that you want to write about, and then see. As well as the photos of like quite obviously sort of far away places, then we've got this one about clocks, which looks a more personal piece, and then yeah, that piece there. So maybe there's something in that where you want to write more of that type of content before you figure out what it is that you're here to do.
And Nosferat, you're absolutely correct. That is my take too, is that travel can be more than just actual travels, but I don't know that people will go there like you did. But that is the intention. Yeah,
I
thanks.
think, you know, the intention is massive, Becca, because the intention really is the setting out of the stall. And, you know, you could call it like pink fluffy kittens if you wanted. You know, people will come on in and try and decide for themselves whether it's for them. If you call it something specific, like Change Your Life Travels, that's either that it's changed your life, or that you run a travel agency, or that you think travels can change somebody's life. So there's a lot in that where we've still got to figure that out as a new reader. And that could be purposeful, or it could be that you want to make it more clear. But you can go into your settings and change what this says now today if you want to, if that just feels easier as you're building up what it is that you want to say on Substack. I feel like in terms of what readers want on Substack, you know, there was so many different types of readers, and I can be reading in the evening for my career, I can be reading for education, I can be reading for inspiration, I can be reading for escapism. And so this for me would fit in the escapism box. If I wanted something that didn't remind me about what I do for work, but reminded me of my younger, freer self, this is where I would go, you know, just to escape and connect and kind of feel those things, to feel like travel might be possible as I grow older, as the kids grow older. Like there's so much in there. So I think don't box yourself into thinking, oh, well, a reader would be this, that, and the other, because sometimes there's nuance, isn't there, to the people that are finding our work.
Okay, thank you. That when you said escapism, I'm like, yeah. So I'll hang on to it for.
Yeah,
Thank you
hang
for
on to that and see how that is all feeling. Oh, I don't think did I share my screen there with that one? I didn't. I was just trying to work out where you guys had all gone, but you're there. I thought I had shared my screen, but I think I haven't. I think it's the end of the day. I probably need another cup of tea. But I will say thank you to you all. It's been so lovely to be here with you. I know that it's not the easiest of topics. Let me just get you back again. Hang on. It's not the easiest of topics to come to. Sorry, I don't know why it's gone off here. Funny a second. Oh, Zoom, thank you, Zoom. But I think it is worthwhile just trying to give space to that new reader coming into our space. So build it up over time. See if there are some small tweaks and changes you can make as homework. I'll put the post up and we can all chat in the comments, and I'll see you in the writer's room if you can make it tomorrow. Thank you again. See you really soon. Bye. Bye.